Hey folks, this is a video that shows an example. We're going to go to example number 8 in section 4.2, the dividing polynomial section. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, first thing I want to do is look at the directions right before example 7. So it tells you that one or more zeros are given, and you'll notice in example 8 you're given 2 zeros. Then we're supposed to find all the other zeros. And then lastly, we're supposed to take p of x, and we're supposed to factor p of x into linear factors. So let's go ahead and get started then. You'll notice that I was given 2 zeros. My zeros are x equals 7 and x equals negative 7. So I'm going to go ahead and write those in my list of zeros. I know that they're zeros, I just have to prove it first of all. So in order to prove it, let's use synthetic substitution. So I'll put 7 in the box. You could start with negative 7 if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and start with 7. And then I'm going to make a list of all of my coefficients. Don't forget your zeros in there. And then you want to start your cycle of multiply, add, until you run out of numbers. So bring down that coefficient of 1, multiply your box, you get 7. Add, you get 7. Multiply your box, you get 49. Add, you get negative 3. Take your negative 3 times your box, you get negative 21. Add, and you get negative 21 again. Multiply your box, you get negative 147, and you know then that when you add, you get 0. This is not a surprise. You're supposed to end up with 0. If you ended up with anything else, there's an issue here. Now, this next step is often missed by people, so be very careful when you do this next step. I'm going to plug in my negative 7, but whatever you do, do not go back to the beginning equation. What you want to do is make sure that you use this set of numbers, this equation. This is no longer a quartic with a degree of 4. This is now a cubic. It's called the depressed polynomial. And so this is the set of numbers that you want to use. And so notice here that in purple, I've just recopied that depressed polynomial up there. All right, so now what you want to do is start your cycle of multiply, add. So you bring down your 1 and multiply by the box. Add, you get 0. Multiply, you get 0. Add, you get negative 3. Multiply, you get 21. And then you can see here that you have 0. Again, not a surprise. But the nice thing that you have now is that your depressed polynomial is a quadratic, and you can solve quadratics. You have 4 methods for solving quadratics. So we have x squared minus 3. Let's set it equal to 0 and solve. Square root method is the best, so go ahead and add 3 to both sides. And then you want to take the square root of both sides. Don't forget your plus minus. So now I have 2 more zeros that I can add to my list. So let's go back to the directions. The directions said after you find all the other zeros, then you should take p of x and factor into linear factors. So what I want to do then is I want to take each of my zeros and turn it into a factor. So my first 0 of x equals 7 can be turned into a factor that is x minus 7. And the factor of x equals negative 7 can be turned into a factor of x plus 7. The 0 of x equals negative 7 can be turned into a factor of x plus 7. The 0 of x equals root 3 can be turned into a factor of x minus root 3. And x equals negative root 3, 0 can be turned into the factor x plus root 3. Now this is a list of factors, but it's not a product of linear factors. You actually have to rewrite p of x. And so one more step on this, and that is to just simply take your p of x, list out your factors, and we are multiplying them. So we are writing them as a product. You don't actually have to take the time to multiply, but we are writing them as a product.